All right, everybody. Welcome back to another TWAB this week at Bungie. We
Hi
are
ho.
we are back with the one for September 23rd. I am G3 Hydration,
G3 Tyrant, baby.
and we got another pretty short TWAB here. Not too much to go over. Some trials information and some patchwork that kind of went through. So let's just kick it right off and go into the trials information. Starting today, when this will be out, trials will have officially launched, and we will be getting the trials labs. It'll be an experimental weekend, so it'll be replacing the actual trials playlist. So instead of it just being a 3v3 elimination, it'll be a capture zone. So 30 seconds after the round starts, a capture zone will be enabled, and players can capture this zone to win the round, or simply just eliminate the other team. Either way. The capture zone has a waypoint from the start, including a countdown timer, so everybody will know exactly when and where it will be. And the capture zone starts in the middle of the map on the first round, and it will change locations based off of each round. And those who have won the round, the person who lost will have the flag a little bit closer to them, so to try to give them a bit of an advantage for the next round, to try to keep the matches a bit more even instead of it just being a 5-sweeper. So, and I believe that's like the intent of this, is that it's not supposed to just be taken as a ignore the flag, go kill them. It's to try to give some people a bit of a fighting chance. What do you think?
I have a mixed bag feelings about this one.
Okay.
When I first read this TWAB yesterday, I thought to myself, yeah, this is a really good idea. And then I slept on it, woke up, and I was like, you know what? What if this objective promotes more laning Larrys?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because now I understand that it's still 30 seconds before it spawns. Everybody knows where it is. But at least with elimination, when we were playing on distant shores, we could do things like, okay, we know we can't win the fight if we force it B, or if we force it down any real lane, right? Because we're a long range oriented team. So what we wanted to do was, if we spawned on I don't know what to call it, but it's closest to the B side and A.
Mm-hmm.
We went all the way through the riverside, through the tunnel, and came back around to the staircase where, at the bottom of the stairs, there's B. And we were just killing teams that way. We were able to set up flanks that way. And we just made it work to our own advantage. Now, with an objective now in place, it's going to force us to consistently play to maybe the opponent's strategy. So maybe game one, let's say we're playing again on a map like Distant Shore. We know, okay, generally it's going to be in a lane somewhere where we can post up, have a sniper, maybe the Lorenz driver, Arbalist, Jotun, anything that's going to cheese you early in the match, right?
Yep.
And there's going to be a little bit of difficulty maneuvering it, because you don't want them to just simply walk into the objective for free. Now, they're depending on the map and how the objectives are placed, the objectives need to be put out in the open. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure they've done that and they did their due diligence, but whoever decides to run for that objective to cheese you early, that guy needs to be able to die quickly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
kind of like how Halo did
hiding
King of the
behind
Hill.
the cover while also getting the objective.
Exactly. And then, it's also going to promote guys who are running Sentinel Titans, Warlocks, to just, okay, I got my super, I'm going to post up in here, plant my sword, and just stay there. And there's nothing we can do about it. Right?
Yep.
So, those are my only real concerns with the capture the flag idea. I'm not, fully sold on that. But, again, last TWAB I was super excited. Now I'm sitting here and I'm just like, man, just think of all of the ways that I could get cheesed in this mode. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And it might almost end up promoting more playing it back instead of pushing the objective, because if everyone's just kind of waiting for the other team to go to the objective first, it might prolong match experiences versus them maybe trying to make the matches a little bit quicker because they're hoping people will kind of rush the objective. But
Yeah.
this is trials. People aren't coming in and just rushing objectives here. There's a game plan in play.
Exactly.
So,
like, even for us, like, it takes us a hot 3 games before we decide, okay, like, this is exactly what we're going to end up doing round per round. Like, we actually dictate what we're going to do, what round, where do we spawn, right?
exactly. We come up with a game plan.
And it's like, and I know, like, even just for our team in general, like, when we see heavy rounds, some of us groan because we're like, okay, now we know we're forced to have this engagement that we know we don't want to have dependent on the map. And so far, as far as heavy's been concerned, on Burnout and on Distant Shore, we did not like heavy round at all.
No.
So it's going to be interesting to see now that we have this objective and heavy to dictate, okay, like, we kind of need to go here because we have to worry about the objective. And secondly, even if we win said round, the objective is going to be spawning closer to the enemy, which I don't completely agree with. I feel like the objective should always remain neutral.
I agree with that too. I think it should be neutral. I don't think a team should get an advantage for each individual round.
Yeah, like, because then our back is always going to be up against it each and every single round, right? And it's just like, if they get to an objective first and they're proficient snipers, how are we going to deal with that?
Yeah, it's just one of those things we're gonna have to kind of judge at the time. It definitely sounds like it'll be an interesting weekend for sure.
So that's my only thing with that, man, because I can see it mostly working for the solo players that are having issues going flawless by themselves, which, again, like, I feel for you guys. I tried playing solo myself, didn't get anywhere. We had Pistachio trying to go flawless solo because our whole squad went flawless, and unfortunately, it ain't easy being a solo player. And, like, with the flawless pool that we were stuck in, we couldn't really help him.
Yeah.
So it was a little, like, give or take. We tried our best, but he was just better off trying to play with randoms or make his own fire team. But with this objective in place, I'm sure it's going to give teams that are just randomly put together an advantage in that regard, so they have a more fighting chance. Because even, again, like, when me and Immortal were playing when you weren't around, it was more or less like the random would just keep running off somewhere, and it would used to frustrate us, right? It was driving us insane because it's like, dude, if you had just stayed with us, we would have won the round. We have guys holding on to supers until the absolute last minute.
Yeah. So, it does make it harder coming in as an individual.
So, I mean, in that regard, good job, Bungie. I'm not knocking you, but I'm just saying that as far as just, like, having the objective there is one thing, but now giving them the advantage in and around that, again, like, we could 5-0 them, but they keep getting the objective, it's only going to make it harder on us to keep having to deal with this objective. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to sound like, you know, a crybaby about it or whatever, but, like, Trials is supposed to be as balanced as possible, and it's already more than enough that Bungie has decided to give us crossplay to open up the pools and allow us to go flawless, right? Mm-hmm. Now it's like, all right, we're going to take away some of the balance factors of Trials, and we're going to put advantages into the hands of those who may not be as skilled. Granted, I get it. Y'all may be solo, and you're struggling to go flawless. Maybe even the guys who went flawless week 1 struggled week 2 as a fire team. Mm-hmm. And you guys need some sort of way to counteract that. I just don't think this is it.
Yeah, I feel like there should be a different way, as well. I don't feel the flag should be coordinated to who lost the round. So they did say here, also for this weekend, though, while the new mode is activated, we will be getting double trials rank for every match. So good time to
That's
reset the ranks. Cause it says here if you're in Mythic or Fabled, and I'm
I'm
partway
currently
through
in
Mythic 3, so it would be a great time for me to do a nice little reset this weekend.
Yeah.
But okay, so basically we're just gonna have to kind of see how it is, like that, as is all new things. Where like we can speculate about it as much as we want, but until we actually get our hands on it and get inside the playlist, it's kind of hard to exactly give our full opinion on it. So
Yeah, I mean, again, I might be judging a little harshly just because, again, like I just outside looking in, right? But once we get our hands on the playlist, next week you guys will know for sure how we felt about it.
Exactly. So to continue on here, they were talking about Flawless, and they were saying that they had two main benefits for allowing the solo and duo players to queue up. It was to allow players of a lower barrier of entry and expectation to try out the mode, and more importantly, it increased the population enough that fire teams of mid-skilled players landed more wins than if they only had matched against other mid-skilled or high-skilled teams. Basically, they're going to be going over some stats here. They said that solo players are a key for the entire system to work, so we do need those solo players. For example, in the first week, a whopping 54% were full fire teams versus solos, and cut it to this week where about 45% were full fire teams versus solos and duos. It was a pretty significant drop. But in order to get more solo players in, they agree that they need to make the rewards a bit more feasible and a bit more rewarding in general, just to make you play in the playlist as well. So right now they have engrams that you can grind for, as well as the 7 win rewards, but only if you win. So they are going to be looking to adding things into the reward pool, which I also think is needed for the Flawless to kind of keep the people in Flawless, because some people were stating that people would be resetting their cards at 5 or 6 wins just specifically to stay out of the Flawless only pool, so they could continue to then more or less destroy the average players. I don't feel like the majority of the community did that. I feel like that is a very niche part of the community that ended up doing that. And according to what Bungie has said here down below, which we'll get to soon, they did put some numbers on that. So keeping here with the solo players, they said week 1 solo wins were about 23% of the games, and they got blown out 5-0 losses 38% of the time. Now for week 2, solo wins went up to 36%, and the 5-0 blowout went down to 29% from 38%. So that is a good drop for the blowouts. It's always good to see teams not getting absolutely wiped. It is better to have a bit more of a competitive match, and that's exactly what Bungie's looking for in these things. And then the solo wins, they want to see more solo queue players winning, because like they said, the solo queue players are a big part of the whole Trials infrastructure now, in adding to the population of the mode itself and just getting more hands-on. So long term, they're looking to keep the solo win rates above 30% and the solo fire team blowouts under 33%. So they're right in that range that they're looking for right now, which is good. They said in week 1 they saw about 60% of the matches end at either 5-0 or 5-1. This is in this is full teams, I believe we're talking about now. They said the blowouts were for our competitive matches here. They consider 5-1 as a non-competitive match. The sweet spot is like a 5-2 or 5-4, so that the matches felt good while playing, even if you did end up losing. In week 1, they saw 60% of the matches end at either 5-0 or 5-1, and in week 2, it dropped down to 52%, which is a nice improvement, but they said that they would like to see the number drop to 30 or 40%. So basically, they want more competitive matches and not as many blowouts happening, which that's very tough to do, because it does very much depend on the teams that people are playing. But like they said, more solo players, more duos going in, not full fire teams of 3. If we keep getting more, then hopefully you'll be matching up against people that are also doing the same thing, and it'll be a closer match and not a blowout.
Yeah,
they want to make the... Sorry, yeah?
Yeah, I hear that part. Yeah, I like that. I understand that.
They want to keep matchmaking times low. They said both weeks' average matchmaking times were pretty steady at just under 50 seconds. The only reason that it was that high is because players started off on a terrible streak would end up in a matchmaking pool below the base pool that only looked for other players who had started off losing 10 rounds in a row. It's a very small pool with the matchmaking times that over the last 4 minutes before the system gives up and expands back to the base pool. So I think that's the pool that's they're talking about where if you lose X amount of times in a row that you get a kind of like a bonus thing to try to help you win a little bit. I'm not sure if that means like they're like specifically looking for a team that has like a lower average kill death or something than you to essentially give you a worse team to play against that you essentially should win, which would cause matchmaking times to go up, but not by too much. They said here things that worked, that they had just over 700,000 players on the weekend, only 50,000 fewer than the week one, and that is higher than expected, and normal drop off is to be expected after launch, as also to be combined with Distant Shore being a less popular map. And they had 253,000 players go flawless, so that's fantastic. Games were about 10% longer.
A big drop off from last week.
No, they said it was very, very few, about 50,000 less. So, and for flawless, I believe it was around the same. It was a solid number of flawless when happened the first week.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Things that didn't work. They saw 34% less matches played overall, and the number of matches post flawless dropped by 45%. So that was where we were running into a bit of a problem, where we would get our flawless, but then being in an only flawless pool after, it seems like the people kind of like us that are just kind of getting your flawlesses now, they all just seem to like stop, and then the people that were hanging out there are people that just stomp flawless all the day, every day, and they just basically we just get stomped.
Yeah.
So it wasn't too fun. They have reports of significant amount of players resetting at 5 or 6 wins, but they said here they had reports about it happening, but they said they saw only about 16,000 total cards that were reset under 7 wins. So, like, given that there was 2.7 million cards this weekend, 16,000 cards being reset at 5 or 6 isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things. And I agree, that's not a lot. But it is something they are watching, as it is unhealthy for the mode if it becomes more common, which is 100% the right move. You definitely need to keep an eye on it, because it's not as bad as the win trading thing or anything like that. But if people don't care, if the rewards aren't good enough for flawless, where people don't care about going flawless and they're just going to do a reset at 5 or 6 to keep just absolutely stomping people, then obviously like your average players that are just queuing up will not want to keep going in, because they're just going to keep getting stomped. So
yeah, exactly.
It's understandable. Normally,
again, like, you have to understand, like with the sorry to interrupt you, but with them, again, seeing this commonality of people resetting their cards super early into, like, not even super early, but like 6-5 wins before they hit 7. Remember, there's still people out there trying to do carries, and they understand that if I jump into the flawless pool, I can't carry whoever needs carries. So, I mean, I can assume these guys are taking them at least to maybe 6 wins, and then they're like, all right, good luck in your last match, and if you need to get back up there again, I can help you get back up there. I'm sure they're trying to find like a new medium as far as like doing trials carries is concerned.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. They said here, normally they see 50% of the players going flawless do so with someone else who has already been flawless. Last week it was 56%. This can either be a traditional carry, or just playing with friends. The number dropped by 16%, which is unacceptably low for a friend game content. So, I'm not sure necessarily how good that number is per se. Like, I mean, most people, I guess, that would go flawless would normally be a team of friends or a fire team that is normally used to playing together. And then, like they said, or it's someone that is doing a carry that is just good enough to just straight up do it themselves.
Yeah.
So, So apparently, to address this, they're making 2 changes for week number 3. So that will be this week coming up. So by the time you guys are hearing this, this will already be live. So they're now waiting until Sunday morning's reset at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to enable the flawless pool. So no longer at the end of the day on Friday will it be enabled. It'll now be enabled on Sunday. So you have all of Friday and all of Saturday to play it essentially like the first week where you're not going to play flawless players once you go flawless. As of Sunday, once that reset happens, if you are flawless, you will be stuck in the flawless only pool.
Which makes a lot of sense, and I feel like they should have did that like at launch. Give us a little bit more leeway.
I feel this is a good mid-ground, yeah, because they did it the first week to test it, and then last week they went right to the flawless pool locked out scenario, which obviously had some benefits, but also some kickback. So kind of doing it this way where you got to get 2 days of non-flawless only, and then 2 days of, hey, if you're flawless, you got flawless only. I think that's a nice mid-ground. I feel it's pretty fair. Yeah,
and honestly, it sounds like Bungie's working toward getting rid of it entirely. Honestly, it sounds like this is just like a temporary fix, a temporary band-aid, because they don't want to divide the community up. They want to keep everybody together as much as possible, but they need to also find a way to make the mode accessible for everybody at the same time. So it's even if, again, we have plenty of players in our clan, like even again like Starfire, for instance, he doesn't probably care anything about going flawless, let alone the Crucible. But I mean, if Shariah's Wrath is available, he's gonna want to try and get in there and grind it without having to worry about getting 5-0'd each and every single game he jumps into. Which again, like
exactly,
me and you are going to be there to prevent that from happening. But that's not the point.
But we'll at least be able to get our flawless and then still go in.
And he knows between Friday and Saturday, we are more than willing to lend him a hand, and it's going to be to his advantage that we're there. Not to his disadvantage that his 2 friends that are obviously well-versed in playing Crucible, who've gone flawless, and, you know, he relies on to do PvP content, and now you create this barrier where it's like, sorry, bro, it's Sunday. Like, I don't know if you really want to go through that, right?
Exactly, yeah. Is it worth the pain?
And we know he hates pain. He hates suffering.
This is true. He very much does. Bungie is going to keep working on matchmaking solutions for this, and which they said they're working on a solution that will allow them to remove the flawless pool straight up. So exactly what you said. So look out for more info in mid to late October. They're also turning off the matchmaking help until you've played at least 2 matches during the weekend. So that's if you're getting stomped, sorry, you got to at least lose twice. But
at least give it an effort.
Exactly. You can't be like, oh, I lost 1 match, give me that bonus. Don't work like that, friend.
Like, I know y'all are better than that.
Exactly. You guys can be better. We believe in you. In addition to some previously announced changes, players will no longer get special ammo replenished when being revived. Adding a hold functionality to the purchase gear from Saint 14 to prevent an accidental purchase. For those with those quick tappy hands, yep. Hey, man, you gotta look before you buy.
Listen, all I wanted was Reed's Regret, and I think I got it was Shariah's Wrath. Something was underneath it or beside it, and I accidentally bought like a Shariah's Wrath or something. I'm just like, well, there goes my money for the week.
That's tough. Oh, man.
I had to go back to the spider and beg him for some change, and then I had to go and get my 7 wins all over again.
Oh, man. Jeez. Weapons received from the Reputation rank reward track on Saint 14 will now have their Masterwork slot activated. Previous weapons obtained won't receive a Masterwork slot. So that's unfortunate for those who have already grabbed it. I already grabbed the Eye of Soul on my first one, so I guess it doesn't have it. It's not going to have a Masterwork slot. It wasn't a great roll anyway, so that's fine. Get rid of it.
I mean, I could use the cores though, man. Like I'm not like y'all. Like I'm broke out here. I'm struggling to make ends meet.
Unfortunately, they said previously announced that they would be removing the matchmaking counter for this week. This change wasn't quite able to make the 3.3.0.3 patch. So
wow, say it with your chest, Jesus.
So be warned. Looking forward to the future here. They expect to take another swing at matchmaking and to keep some of the solo/lower skill protections from week 2 without strongly negatively affecting flawless players. So like again, yeah, they're looking to try to get the people that are really struggling for some wins to try to help them get some wins, but also not make it that people that are just generally good are at like a big disadvantage that they have to then overcome just because they're facing someone that's really bad.
Yeah.
They are looking to adjust the rewards for the rounds and match wins on 7-win cards. And other than that, updates and Trials TWAB reports will be less common as we get Trials into a more stable state. Iron Banner will be back next week, and they did announce previously that they don't want to have Iron Banner and Trials happening on the same weeks. They would like the matchmaking to be kind of focused on that pool at the time. So next week when we're getting Iron Banner, there will be no Trials. Trials will return the following week on October 8th, just so everybody knows.
Okay, that sounds good, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I already got everything I need in Iron Banner, but hey.
Yeah, I don't know if you
Banner.
necessarily need to split up the two, because like I was saying yesterday, I don't find that Iron Banner is like the 6v6 Trials mode. It's control. All it is control with a lockout capability and light level matters, and it plays very similar to control. And I don't find that it's even close to being in the same realm as Trials in terms of tryhards and just the amount of skill required.
Trials gear hasn't even been like important. Man, I can't even think of a time. I mean, like, honestly, you always have your, Time Worn Spiral is pretty popular, even the Year 1 version of it. The Reese Walker shotgun, Peace Bond is pretty popular, but again, like, you get that in week 1.
Right now, as I say, the best.
Kind of straight. Bet. I mean, the steady hand during the 120 meta. Again, like, I'm just saying, no one's out here like, oh man, I need to play Iron Banner this weekend. Like,
but like we've said before, all it takes is one shift in the meta to make something more viable. One little shift, that 120 steady hand is right back in action. So like, if you don't have
but I mean,
Iron Banner stuff, go out and get yourself some stuff. But yeah, for those of us that already kind of have it and that are just like, we don't really need the Iron Banner too much. We just we enjoy Iron Banner when it's there because it's fun to play. But at the end of the weekend, I think we'd still rather play Trials.
Yeah,
especially now because we're actually having fun playing Trials again.
I can't even take Iron Banner that long. Like, I can only probably play it for maybe an hour max before I feel like, okay, this has been too much, because it's like the snowball effect. Either you're winning very badly or you're losing very badly. Like, it's no in between. None of the matches are ever competitive. So I just don't really care about Iron Banner like that. Like, I just find it a playlist that's like, you get in and you get out. Like, that kind of like what Trials was before this Trials update ended up happening, right? So you just get in, get your 3 wins in Trials, or you suicide to your engram, and then you get the hell out. And I get the same feeling with Iron Banner. You get the weapons, you hurry up and do whatever it is you have to do, and you get the hell up out of there.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree. So looks like pretty much slowly wrap it up here for the TWAB. They introduced a digital fashion magazine, which is actually absolutely amazing. It's called Threads of Light. It's a digital magazine now. So on Twitter, they quite often with the community managers and with Destiny, they host a fashion week where guardians from all over can send in their guardians in their looks, their favorite looks, and those who are lucky enough to become winners get their guardian shown off, and they also get to get a sweet little emblem given to them, a fashion week little emblem for them to show off on their account. So now they're kind of doing something a little bit more with that, where they're actually kind of making it into a fashion magazine, where those people that have won are going to be featured in this magazine. So if you've have won a contest or have been entered into the contest, keep an eye out on this magazine. You might see your guardian doing a couple poses, and I think it's pretty cool. Like,
And that's
it's
pretty
just
dope, man. Gives those guys a lane, you know, because you have games like even like Warframe, like, you know, a lot of people call it fashion frame because there's so much cosmetics and
hmm
and everybody's in it to look like the, you know, the hottest, sexiest beast alive.
hmm
You know, and I feel like, you know, it gives other players an alternative to strive to be something and still get your name out there. And, you know, I'm always open to more opportunities to people getting their name out there regardless of what it is that they're doing in the game. So that's dope.
Yeah. I think this is a really good idea from Bungie. I think this is a really fun way to interact with the community more and just showcase the community some more. So
Yeah.
I really didn't enjoy that. Definitely go check that out in the TWAB, guys. We got the Prime rewards again. So if you are with Amazon Prime or anything, you can get the Dark Horse Exotic Sparrow, the Bandwagon Exotic Ship, the Rust Punk Shell Exotic Ghost, and the Hold On Legendary Emote. You know, you gotta have a phone call. Hold on a minute. You tell that boss, wait a second, I got a phone call.
I would strongly advise against that, but I mean, if you don't want your job, then yeah, do that. I would pay you to see that. I'd pay to see you do that, actually. That'd be funny.
Yeah. And then here we have some info on the hotfix. So I'll try to run through this pretty quick since I know we're kind of running a little bit long here on this TWAB. Earlier they released the 3.3.0.3 hotfix. This added, we talked about the hold functionality to the Saint 14, and the weapons received didn't have the masterwork weapons. So that'll deal with that. They said they've seen some questions about the new Cobalt Clash Flawless shader and why it's showing up in collections. They said here, the question about the flawless shaders such as Cobalt Clash, one of the shaders that can drop on the gear obtained from the lighthouse when it goes flawless, like the Vizier Regalia before it. These shaders are single-use shaders that come pre-equipped on gear obtained from the lighthouse. We currently have a collection entry for the Cobalt Clash, which states as source as complete a flawless ticket trial, or complete a flawless trials ticket. Well, this is the means by which players gain access to the gear with the shader applied to it. We were not specific enough with our wording here, as these shaders are bound to the gear and not unlocked for use on all items like the other shaders in the game. They apologize for the confusion and will be removing it from the collection's inventory. Furthermore, they realize that this is not an ideal player experience and they'll be reevaluating how they distribute shaders in the future. Yeah, I don't like this at all, because they introduce a really cool shader that people are like, oh, that would be freaking sweet to get, and it's only on a very, very specific piece of gear, and when you're dealing with random stat rolls all the time, and you can only get it from going flawless, to get an entire set of this armor, and it be like with the stats that you want, is going to just be nigh impossible to get, and you're going to have it, and then to have a shader that people can't then put on something else. I don't think that's the move. Like, don't create a cool shader that is virtually impossible to get, and then
I'm getting a lot of like year one Eververse vibes. Like, don't lock it behind something and don't make it nigh impossible to get. Like, just make it available. It's a shader, dude. It's not a weapon. It's not an armor piece. Just it's a shader.
If
like,
you're gonna
you can even just have the shader drop or attach it to a new emblem or something. Like, come on, man.
Well, they could do it where they had this similar thing before, where if it drops on that specific armor, that's fine. But once you delete that piece of armor, you get the shader.
Yeah, like, why
they did that before?
Attached to just the one armor piece.
Yeah, it's like, so do that, because getting an entire set, especially with proper stat distribution, just for a shader too, it's insane. That's insane.
Like, you're asking for the impossible, in my opinion.
Especially but locked behind a flawless. So when it's time gated too, week to week, and certain weeks that it's not Iron Banner. So that's a
Like,
no. That's a no go. I can
happening.
definitely see why people were upset about that one. I actually have that shader on one of. I think I actually have that on the Eye of Soul sniper rifle.
Really?
that was given to me from the thing. Because I noticed that. I was just like, oh, this is a pretty nifty shader, and I didn't have it before, and I was wondering.
You're going to have to show me that.
Where
I didn't know you got it.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look. Continuing on here with some known issues. The Astral Focusing perk from the Wayfinder Compass doesn't give players a Tier 3 weapon for rescuing the Techion of the first week. Rescuing their first Techion of the week. Sorry. So they're going to be fixing that. The Uncharged Melee on the Middle Tree Sunbreaker has an unintended cooldown between melees. The Gunslinger's Knife is charged when normal melees have a longer cooldown, appearing on all 3 Gunslinger subclasses. Okay. The Bottomless Appetite perk on the Teraba might not be extending the full duration of the Ravenous Beast perk anymore when dealing damage. The Hawkmoon's Paracausal Shot might not be dealing as much damage as it should be. Sometimes shadows and lighting appear to flicker on the PS5. The 3 Birds, 3 Stones Gilded Deadeye Triumph does not specify an eligible Crucible playlist. Taken don't count for bow kills for the Wayfinder's Voyage 5 Seasonal Challenge. Scorn bow kills do. The Deceiving Appearances Seasonal Challenge doesn't progress when destroying Illusion's barriers with Aeger's Scepter. So this is for the catalyst for the Aeger's Scepter when you're going into the Shattered Realm and you're actually destroying those ice crystal walls. Just to get the little things. It's not counting for the catalyst, but you can just kill enemies in the meantime and you can still get the catalyst finished. I managed to finish mine. Players can't purchase the Wayfinder's Compass rank 15 mod at rank 15, but they can purchase it at rank 16. The Wayfinder's Compass inventory updates 16 hours earlier than the intended weekly reset time at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And the catalyst for Aeger's Scepter doesn't gain bonus progress for destroying the destructible walls in the Shattered Realm, nor do precision kills change the rate of progress. So they're having a whole bunch of problems with that Aeger's Catalyst right now. And the drop rate on it is not great. I mean, a couple of my buddies, they all got second, first, third try. Here I am, 20 runs later, finally getting the Catalyst. 2 days of grinding. Ridiculous.
I don't even know what to say. I got it on my first go. I was like, this is it? That was bad. I didn't have the weapon on. It was actually in my vault.
Pistachio came with me, and he's just like, yeah, I'll come with you for the run. He gets it on his first run. I literally fucking screamed.
This guy lost it. I wish we had it recorded. He lost
I congratulated him. I was like, I'm so happy for you. But I'm also pissed because I was on like my 17th run, and I was just like, this is absolutely absurd right now.
And again, I've seen guys like 40 runs, 30 runs. Like, it's crazy, man.
Yeah. But it looks like that'll do it. They just have the movies of the week, so definitely go check out the movies of the week as they always have, and the artists of the week and Artist Alley. The artists are always absolutely fantastic in the community, so please do go check that out. But that looks like that will wrap it up for the TWAB this week, as we look forward to some new Trials labs and some of the changes with Trials. I think we pretty much already touched up upon most of the stuff. Is there anything else you would like to say here?
Just again, good luck on your Trials runs this weekend, everybody. Hope everyone who went flawless week 1 goes flawless week 3. And for those who haven't, keep on trying and don't give up, man.
Yes. Good luck to all those trying out, and just keep doing it. Get yourselves a plan and just stick to the plan, and you guys will get it done with just a little bit of teamwork. You can definitely do it.
Who knows? Maybe we do Trials carries eventually. We'll look into that. We'll see.
Yeah, perhaps. Like, we're already taking our other clan members who don't play PvP almost ever, and we're getting them the flawless. So, like, it's definitely a possibility.
Yeah, and again, like, I know that people charge money for that kind of thing. Don't worry about that over here.
No, we're just happy to help. So
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about no payment, none of that business,
if
no
we can
favors,
lend y'all a
none of that.
hand, we'll lend y'all a hand.
Exactly. We're just friendly handout. So, but looks like that'll wrap it up for this TWAB here. I have been G3 Hydration.
G3 Tyrant.
Hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful day, and as always, stay hydrated.
Peace.